I yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I do it to myself, but I thought it's Captain Marvel week, right? The Marvels is coming. Let's go back to the beginning and kind of go through some of these issues. This is the very first one where we get like this new version of Captain Marvel. This is the 2012 volume. You guys remember Kelly Sue Deconnick, right? You know?
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
So I'm going to give you a quick rundown on a few issues and then make a couple of observations for you. I'm not going to recommend this at all for you. And you can see what's funny how look at the contrast of like they're like totally trolling you right out of the gate with old Miss Marvel versus new Miss Marvel. So they have this battle sequence with Absorbing Man versus Captain Marvel and Captain America. So Cap and Cap are fighting Absorbing Man, who's having a field day, holding his own until she comes up with this idea to basically just cut off his oxygen so he passes out. But in doing so, they have this back and forth of sexism. So what they do is they have Captain Marvel like make some I don't say orders of Captain America or whatever, and they make Absorbing Man the sexist pig, right? So, or Absorbing Man says, "You won't catch me getting bossed around by no broad." Yeah, that's what his line is right there, right?
You serious?
And then she says, "This broad left service a full bird colonel, so technically I outrank him." Yeah, and then he's like, "I'm trying to get you demoted for years." No, don't I know it, or something like that. So this is supposed to be their back and forth. Look at how she's drawn. She looks like a vampire or a monster in this image. It's Dexter Soy. I know the name. The art is terrible in this first issue. I cannot stand this weird digital look and feel of everything. Nothing feels real. Like there's interesting like elements that are in there, but then it just like, hey, look how morphed and looking his Cap's face is. Like it's so strange looking. And then like this is Absorbing, but then look down here, look at her face. Anyway, so the first issue is one, they lay all so you're not allowed to say you don't like Captain Marvel, you don't like this whole thing and this power thing, because then you're the Absorber. Don't you see what you're saying? You're saying the same thing the villain said. You're the villain, don't you see? I know. This is 2012, right? Then it's him trying to tell her how she should just take the name Captain Marvel and not be Miss Marvel. So again, if you didn't like all this, Captain America said it was okay. So it's on you that you didn't like it. You're the problem, not the concept of doing this. And he actually uses the term mantle, and that the real Cap, because she's like, no, he was a good man and a real hero. Too many things were taken from him. I don't want to take one more. His name wasn't Captain Marvel. His name was mar-vell. And I don't mean to be unkind here, but you took his name a long time ago. And she doesn't say anything. Well, that's not exactly how it went. Well, maybe not. But the point remains. Captain Marvel wasn't his name. It was his mantle. Now it's his legacy. And he wanted you to have it. So, put a pin in this. Take the mantle. So, got this? So, if you don't like her, you're the sexist. You're the Absorbing Man. If you don't like the fact that she takes the mantle, screw you, because Captain America told her she should. So, that's what happens in issue number 1.
You sound like a white male trying to reestablish the patriarchy.
Spider-Man shows up, and there's this whole workout sequence, and then it's also like something about like your hair, or I'll punch you through the wall, like that kind of thing. Like she's just very uninteresting. Which, by the way, look at how they draw her, though. She's like a big butt. She's got big boobs. It's like they're all over the map with how they want her to look, right? So that's how this first issue ends, and then we spend. Look, it doesn't match the covers. They do have little stuff that happens here in the Daily Bugles, by the way. But we have this little flashback sequence is going to begin because we're going to go back in time. We're literally going to time travel. So she is obsessed with trying not to use her powers and break this flight record by this famous female World War II pilot that we're supposed to care about, but we don't know anything about. And she ends up going back in time, and then she's under attack by these Japanese soldiers, and then everything kind of goes crazy, and then you have female soldiers. I kid you not. So we're retconning World War II in issue number 2. And basically over the course of the next few issues, it's about her embedded with these women soldiers, and they're on this like time traveled mission back to World War II. They're just going to change history. So that's what we do over the course of the couple of issues. Here's the Daily Bugle telling us that. And here, see, the all-woman squad, a salute and tribute to the unsung heroines of World War II. Here we go. And that's what all this is. And they're fighting this. Here's the ship that they're fighting. We're getting this thing called the Prowlers. And we go through just not one issue, not 2 issues. We go through another issue. She's back in time. She's back in time. Look, see, the museum, get it, unveils the beautiful banshees, the nameless heroines of World War II, to get their due at a limited time exhibit. Yeah, no agenda here. No agenda. Retconning World War II to make these heroes. Basically, this is so again, go back to issue 1. Captain America says you can be Captain Marvel. Then she ends up in World War II. And instead of howling commandos and Captain America leading them, we have this metaphor of Captain Marvel leading all these female commandos because they're amazing. Okay?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Right. And then we're honoring them in our time. So that's what happens. Again, another issue 5. We're still in the past. We're still doing these things, right? And then you end up with this sort of like them putting headlines flashing back to what is going on in this issue. So this is what we have. We have all this stuff. We changed the art kind of dramatically because this is Emma Rios. So a radical change of art in issue 5. So we only did 4 issues and we changed. I actually like Emma Rios's art way better, to be honest. I don't understand why nothing happens. Like there are page after page of women talking and just don't care. And they get on a motorcycle to go somewhere and just, one punch and then just nothing, just talking. And, so that's what this issue is and kind of how things kind of play out before we get to the next episode, which is the important issue here with issue number 6, where she's finally face to face with mar-vell. And this is where you have to know, here's our full on retcon. This is where we totally get what's going on, right? Hoping to beat the altitude record of her former mentor, pilot Helen Cobb, left behind. Captain Marvel is suddenly transported through time after discovering pieces from the psych magnetron strewn throughout the time stream. Carol finally comes across the last one in the hands of a younger Helen Cobb. Now, Carol and Helen have jumped to a place where it all started, the event that would make Carol Danvers a superhero. And by the way, I didn't mention it. Not a superhero. Earth's mightiest hero. Yeah, that's right. That's right. There's not an ounce of humility of how they're handling Captain Marvel, right? So this is this retconning, this sort of like rewriting of everything here before you get to this little story of her in this sort of conflict and then can become Captain Marvel. So here he is trying to survive. So that's what all this issue was. This issue was about his death, which we have changed, right? So he doesn't die during the Kree Skrull War. He dies here, right? And in the process, just like the movie, so the only difference here, I think, really, I noticeably different, was they gender swapped mar-vell, right? They gender swapped him for Annette Bening. And you end up with this big event, this big explosion thing, this big power shift, this big thing happens. And that's what we get. We get him not making it, her becoming this, right? There we go. She's magical now. She's magical. Isn't she amazing? So that's kind of where we're at. I tell you what, man, this, these issues, I know I had grand ambitions of trying to fly through these because there's only like 17 issues. This actually only outlasted 1 year because it started in September of 2012. It ran through all of 13, and then issue 17 is in January of 14, and that's the end of it. They can't. I don't know. Does it end? Is it canceled? I don't even know. They restarted again so they can have more variant issues and start all over again. It is so tedious reading that I just can't handle it. And it's not because of her politics. It's just this strange coffee shop women chatter chat that I'm just like, this isn't really talking about anything. Like, I still don't care about Helen Cobb. I read all of these issues and I still could care less about Helen Cobb. Like, I know that it's like we're spending page after page with mulling through this stuff. And I'm like, I don't care. I actually don't hate Carol Danvers. She's actually fine. And I know she becomes much more abrasive than she is here, but yeah. So anyway, there you go. Captain Marvel video number 1. We'll see how many I can get through. I don't know.
Yeah. Right?